Here we are at Grant Farm. My name is Alfred Grant. I am an organic farmer and entrepreneur from Austria. We are here in the east of Austria in the region Wagram, and we are working on approximately 90 hectares we have a mixed system, so we have arable fields, we have some grassland for our horses, but we also have a market garden where we grow vegetables. We also have agroforestry systems, and here you can see in the background we are now standing in an agroforestry system, as we also call wind hedge or soil protection hedge or even multifunctional hedge. And what we are doing here is we're doing research and demonstration. We use a series of different agroecological methods here on the farm. So we start with converting to organic in 2006. Then we have a wide crop rotation that we use. We implement cover crops. We conduct reduced tillage, so we work as a standard method only 4 centimeters deep on our farm with our tillage tools. We use mixed seeds nowadays, lentil, barley and Fales flax, for example, or chickpeas and Fales flax, for example. What we established over the years is reduced tillage methods, like 4 centimeters deep only, but this is only possible if you reduce your tire pressure, for example. So we can adapt our tire pressure easily with a very simple, very cheap method. It's only 250 euro, and you have the same results as you get from a 5,000 or 7,000 euro unit. So we try to have light-weighted tractors. Our main tractor only has 100 horsepower and it's 4 tons, and we still can do the 90 hectares on the farm. We always try to implement cover crops as soon as possible and as much as possible. And we try to reduce the crops that produce animal fodder, and we try to increase the crops that produce human food. So these are all things that where we try to increase biodiversity, where we try to adapt for climate change, where we try to mitigate climate change, and to do positive things on society and on the planet. With agroforestry, it's quite a super interesting system, because what we look at Grant Farm, we are searching for sustainable systemic solutions, and agroforestry is a very good example on that. When you put, what does it mean, agroforestry? In my understanding, it's bringing back bushes and trees in the arable land. So here in our area we have very good arable land, but there is a lack of structures. So there is a lack of trees. It's only fields. So what we did is we planted 1.3 kilometers of these agroforestry strips, and what we can see is a systemic approach. So what we do is we suck carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere with this photosynthesis from the plants, and we store the carbon in the wood and in the soil. We reduce erosion, so wind and water can no longer blow away or wash away the soil. We adapt to climate change, because when these trees grow up, we have heavy winds here in our region, and that reduces the wind speed. And when you have reduced wind speed, you also have reduced evaporation. So we save water on the fields nearby when we have an agroforestry system installed in the location. But we also reduce or stop the loss of biodiversity, because in this area you have to imagine the trees and the bushes, the flowering. So you get all the beneficial insects, you get all the pollinators here. They have a habitat, and we provide food at the same time. And the same is true for wild animals, like birds or other animals which have a habitat here, and also food. So it's a very systemic approach, but we also want to see an economic benefit from this area. So we will put laying hens in here to produce eggs, and we also have bees here from a neighbor, so we can have an additional benefit, but we also collect some fruits here, so we have additional benefits for us.
Hedgerows are also really important connectors between nature reserves. If we don't have hedgerows in the landscape, animals and plants cannot travel between natural habitat patches, and the populations will shrink a lot, like we saw in the Krefeld study, where 70% of the biomass disappeared over 30 years. So in order to sustain a healthy population, we need to connect the different habitats, and hedges are really a good way to achieve that. They connect forest habitats, as well as if you have next to a hedgerow a grass strip, you also connect grassland habitats with each other and build some kind of insect highway for the insects to survive, and also, also help the farmers with natural pest control, for example.
The more beneficial insects you have, the more biodiversity you get from a system, the less damage you have from pests, because the less room the pests have to dominate the system. If you have no biodiversity at all, so then it's really easy for a pest to explode in population and to make a huge damage. If you have a good biodiversity, if you have a lot of players, a lot of stakeholders in an ecosystem, then it's much more difficult for the bad guys to succeed. We are standing in front of our continuous flow vermicomposting facility, and it was just the worms were just fed a few minutes ago with compost, the compost layer that we put on top of this facility, and we harvest at the bottom the vermicompost, or as we call it, the biohumus. Here we just put some food on top of the earthworm composting area. So it is compost mixed with other stuff, and it's still quite dry, so we have to water it a little bit. But if we dig in to the area, then we can grab some earthworms and we can show you how they work. So the earthworms are the most important animals in the soil, but still they need all the other microbes. All the bacteria, the fungi, the protozoa, the nematodes, and all the other critters that are running around here, like springtails or Enchytria or other animals. So it's an ecosystem. It's not only about earthworms, it's about the whole community and the whole biodiversity that makes this soil healthy. Yeah, 25 years ago I was interested to make money, and I was looking for a business idea. And I came up with vermicomposting, and later on I learned a lot from scientists about earthworms and how soil works, and the relationships between plant roots and the soil microbes and the mineral soil. And so now we see the vermicompost as a tool for plants, and the plants feed the microbes which are in the vermicompost, in the biohumus, and so the plants can use these microbes as a tool to mineralize nutrients, to fight diseases, to fight drought or bad environmental conditions. So when I learned all that and tried to understand all of that, that was the beginning where I went more and more into the environmental friendly food production, into organic, into agroecological methods. And I always say I have a very basic education, but I always say I was trained by earthworms to become the person that I am now, to get the knowledge and get the try to get the understanding, because we are still learning. But we have a kind of a knowledge now that we can provide, and I think it's super important to be aware about soil health and the relationship to food quality. At Grand Farm, we are not only looking for agroforestry as a systemic solution, but the most systemic solution for us is market gardening. Market gardening is a system where you grow a huge variety of vegetable, herbs, fruits on small land, on small scale, mostly by hand. There is nearly no machinery included, no tractor included, and you sell the product in the region. So this is a way, if you don't have a lot of land, still to make a decent turnover and a profit out of little land, and gives a huge value not only in production of food but also for other reasons. So we compared market gardening according to the SDGs, to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, and there are 17 of them that we are hoping to achieve till 2030. And from these 17, with market gardening, we have an impact, some more, some less, but still we have an impact on 11 out of 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So that's huge. But why? Why does that happen? Because yes, we are producing organic vegetable, healthy, fresh for the local region, but we also creating jobs. We are also mitigating climate change here on this land. We are adapting to climate change. We are regenerating our soil. We are making healthy, clean water. We are helping to have clean air. We are creating jobs. We are starting initiatives in the local region, in the rural area. We are bringing back young people into the rural area. We are reducing the average age in agriculture when bringing in young people. We try to explain to people, to decision makers, to the society, what we do here, what is the potential that such a system has on society, on the planet, on the environment, but also show the challenges that such a system brings with you. So the challenge of know-how, for example, you need a lot of know-how to make it successful. And we are still here not profitable, just from the production side, but we are planning to be profitable next year, and we are really seeing the development and the improvements that we are making here together with a great team of young professionals, professional gardeners. Yeah, here we can see the typical soil that we have here in this region, and it's Chernozem. And here you can see the topsoil, which is quite high. It's about 25-30 centimeter. And here is the subsoil. But still, people think subsoil is not important. It's super important. As you can see, there are roots everywhere. And even if you consider this is a burrow from an earthworm, and it's covered with the biohumus, with the casting from the earthworm. So you see the different color from the subsoil, which is quite bright, to the dark area where the earthworm compost, the earthworm casting is growing. And here you can see such an earthworm casting, which was penetrated by plant roots. And you see how the plant roots develop and how they grow into the earthworm burrows. They really enjoy this area because they find everything that they need. They find more water, they find more nutrients, more microbes. So this is really important. Still, this soil was compacted, because here this was a kind of driveway where we brought water in. So we had a trailer with 6-8 tons, and so this area is quite compacted, and therefore I want to show you just nearby on the right side where we have plants grown, pepper and zucchini, and we had a mulch, a layer of organic mulch, which was lucerne hay, or which is lucerne hay. And I want to show you the difference between the structure of this soil and the structure of the beds. It's very close, and if we step in here, we can see there is a mulch layer of lucerne, and if we dig in here, you can already see it's quite soft, and if we take out the soil, you can see there is a lot of roots, a lot of room. And if you check up Wikipedia, for example, the definition for soil is 50% of the soil is air, and this is nearly like this. So you can see a lot of holes, a lot of air pores, and this is important. And you can see, you can really easily break it up and have a lot of room for roots to grow. And very healthy soil. Sad thing, you can't smell it because it smells beautifully, and that means the better the smell is, the more intense it smells like soil, the more activity from the soil microbes you have. So you can see, you can make soil, you can improve your soil easily with agroecological methods, and one of these methods is applying organic matter on the soil surface, applying a layer of mulch. And what you do, you prevent weed from germinating, you feed your earthworms, you support your earthworms with food, you provide nutrients through your earthworms to the plants, but you also protect the soil from erosion. So water and wind cannot blow or wash away the soil surface, the topsoil, and you keep your soil moist and reduce evaporation. Here at Vermigrant and also at the farm, we are doing a lot of research. So one research example, especially with vermicompost, was together with Technical University Graz, Gabi Berg. And what they did is they had an indoor plant, and they put the microbes, the microbiome, which is the community of microbes, in a specific area. And we took the microbiome from the vermicompost and made a compost tea out of it, and they sprayed it on the leaves and poured it into the pot, in the soil pot. So what they did, they put the plant into a clean room, a very, very clean room, and then they checked the microbiome, so the community of microbes in the air and on the leaf surface, but also in the root, in the soil. And what they realized is that the microbiome shifted slowly into the direction of the vermicompost. So the microbes could establish themselves. And what they consider now is to use such kind of microbiome in hospitals. Because in hospitals you have these, everything is disinfected and hygienized. But you have specific microbes which are quite dangerous, but which are resistant against this disinfection material. And now if you get other microbes in, then they fight each other, and it's much more difficult for these bad guys to establish when you have a good environment and a good diversity of microbes in the air and on the plant surface. So that would help to reduce the impact of the bad hospital bacteria. And so what we can learn from that is that in nature, biodiversity rules everything. So there is always one organism, one plant, one microbe that can fill the room, fill a space, and this is super important because then not one species can dominate a complete ecosystem, but it's always a mix of different, and it's a diverse mix of different organisms, and that makes an ecosystem healthy. Comparing the conventional approach with pesticides, mineral fertilizer, heavy tillage, monocropping, and even GMO, for example, to agroecological methods, smaller scale, more landscape approach, more systemic approach, reduced tillage, organic fertilizer, crop rotation, cover crops, implementation, flower strips, agroforestry. So all these agroecological methods. I think there is no reason and no way to still go the conventional way. I think if we want to have a future on this planet, if we want to have a sustainable food production system, if we want to see a more systemic approach, there is only one way, and that's the organic, that's the agroecological way to grow food, to provide jobs, to support the environment, support biodiversity, protect the environment,